All right. What's going on? We're back again with another podcast episode. And today's guest, we got my guy Yegor. He's from Canada.
So,
Appreciate you being here, man. It's gonna be a banger episode. I'm really interested in your story and how you got started. And I just want to give you the floor first on kind of introduce yourself on what you do. And yeah.
yeah, for sure. For sure. So my name is Yegor. Like Elijah said, I'm from Canada, Toronto, 18 years old. I used to run an agency. Now I help coaches, agency owners scale using the same thing I did to hit an 8K week at 17 years old.
Mhm.
And I take a approach of like principle-based psychology. So rather than just giving the strategies, I also help you understand the principles behind the organic marketing, why it works. So you get the principles, understand that, get your own mastery and like your own expertise, and then you can create something on your own rather than just being
Right.
like a carbon copy of everyone else.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I do.
And you're from Canada, right?
Yeah, Toronto.
How do you get started in this, man? Because we met at the Consulting Blueprint. It's a community, and I'm interested. How did you get started on the whole thing? Because you're only 18 and you started what age?
Well, technically I started like online business. Like I had my first drop shipping store at 14 years old.
That's crazy.
But like I went like actually hard in it last year in March when I was 16, my digital marketing agency.
Okay.
So technically I started at 14, but I took like a break in between that. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what made you start it?
Yeah, well, actually going even way back, if you consider YouTube a business, then I started making YouTube. Yeah. So then I started YouTube videos at like 10, 11 years old. I just always wanted, well, first I wanted to be famous because like every little kid wants to be famous. And I started making YouTube videos. My main goal was to, for those who know Team Albo, so like Wolfie Raps, whatever, these are like YouTubers in Canada. I used to watch them and I wanted to be like similar to that. As well as like Niga Higa, all of that, just like make people laugh, right? That was my main goal with the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Thing is, like in grade 7, grade 8, like a lot of people made fun of me because my name was like King Yegs back then. But funny enough, the people who made fun of me for having a YouTube channel later on started their own YouTube channel. So yeah, that was funny. So yeah, anyways, I had the YouTube channel, tried to like go blow up there, but like looking back on it, I had such a squeaky voice. I understand why I didn't gain followers. So yeah, and then until like grade 8, I kind of stopped the YouTube channel because I was obviously, I got into a private school and like I had to focus on grades there. And then later on in grade 9, I was still kind of, that was like the stage where I was still like trying to build up my confidence, like find myself, like still caring what people think. I don't remember when, grade 9 or grade 10, I started, like TikTok was like pretty popular. So I started making TikTok videos with the goal of, you know, being famous, making people laugh.
Right.
And I started to do that, got like one video that got like 15,000 views. But I don't know, it's just, I never really blew up on there. And I was like really hard on myself. Oh, actually, let me track back. So before I actually got into the TikTok, at 15 years old, I was like sitting in my backyard. I was looking around. I'm like, everyone has a job. I didn't even have a minimum wage job, right? So I'm like, okay, if I want to make money, if I want to make a difference in people's lives, and like the reason why I started the YouTube channel was so I can, like my goal is like, if I can make at least one person laugh, then my mission is accomplished. And so from a very young age, I've always wanted to help people become the best versions of themselves. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not that funny in terms of content. So how do I help? I want to help people improve themselves, right? But then it's like, I can't really do that if I have like no credibility. Like, why would you listen to a 15-year-old kid who can't even get a job? Exactly. So I'm like, okay, well, first I need to get the job. And so I'm like, all right, print out like 30 resumes, just go into like my neighborhood, hand it out to every single store. I ended up getting hired at McDonald's. And then I was working there, I would say 6 months. In 6 months, I only earned $1,500. Like obviously I wasn't working a lot, but it's still like the transportation, all of that.
Let's say like that was 14 or 15.
I was working at McDonald's at 16. Like the minimum
16,
age
okay.
is 16. Yeah.
Okay, 16. For 1500, I think I made about the same amount when I was like, when I started working too, I worked at KFC. That was my first job,
Yeah.
like legit job. So I just want to backtrack too on what you mentioned is the whole reason why you started the whole TikTok or YouTube is to entertain people and just make someone laugh. And if you make someone laugh, then your mission is accomplished. And then eventually you start becoming, you want to impact people, others' lives and help them. Tell me more about that. What's made you start having this mindset that I want to help people out?
Honestly, I think for myself, if I just go back at it, like I always like just saw people around, like, I don't know, just like YouTubers, like obviously like living the lavish lifestyle and all of that. But it's like at the same time, just like having the financial freedom, like achieving all of these things. And I'm like, why can't I do that? You know?
Right.
And I mean, I'm an only child. So it's like, I'm oftentimes like just by myself. Like, yeah, when I was 9 years old, my parents got divorced. So I had to, you know, like kind of grow up at an early age, I would say. Like, don't get me wrong. I live in a pretty wealthy like neighborhood and all of that, but I still like, you know, have to take care of myself. And so like a lot of times I was just alone, just like thinking. And like when COVID hit, like I just had so much alone time, like with my own thoughts. And I thought to myself, like, what am I even doing with my life? You know? And so, yeah, I just saw these people succeeding, and obviously I want to impact people also. Like I wanted to make money. I'm not going to lie. Like everyone wants to make money from a young age. And so I just asked, like, why not? Like, why can't I do that? And so that's just kind of what drove me. And just like, my thing is like, as a human, especially as a man, like if you don't reach your full potential, like, what are you doing? You know, like, I'm just not fine with that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I had that drive, like even, so I said I started drop shipping at 14. In terms of drop shipping, like the reason I wouldn't really consider it a business, because I spent like 10 hours maybe building out different stores, but like I launched one ad, or it was like it's a theme page promotion. So I sent $20 to some theme page. They posted it, I got 0 sales and I quit. But then I moved into soccer and I wanted to become a professional soccer player. Like at the age of 14 and 15, I was literally waking up at 4 a.m., like going on runs. Then at lunch, I would come home from school, train. After school, I'd train again. And I remember one time I was not pleased with like how I played in a soccer game. I came home after it and I was practicing so hard that I injured my quad. And I was limping for the next 2 weeks. So, cause like I was shooting the ball so hard.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. I've always had that drive.
I feel like you have a personality of like, I'm either all in or I'm all out. Like, I definitely can relate on that part where, so for me, it was like basketball. That was the thing where I was like, I'll wake up at 5:30 a.m. just go to the gym before school. And then after school, I'll go practice, go to the open gyms and all these things. Right. And eventually, you know, fast forward, I was like, oh, I'm thinking this is a kind of, like just certain things in my heights. I'm not that tall. I like it, just being like, well, what is like something? It was the same thing for me. Like COVID started, and that's when I started like, oh shoot, there's an opportunity here, and then that's when I started becoming more in touch with my like my purpose, and then just, you know, we had a lot of alone time, and then I had that literally same question. It was like, if other people are becoming successful, and then this is when I started getting into like investments and just like side hustles. I started watching like Stephen Graham and stuff like that. Right. And one of the quotes that stood out to me like was from Warren Buffett. Like, if everybody's greedy, be fearful. But if everybody's fearful, be greedy. And then I noticed everybody was fearful when the lockdown was about to happen. I was like, I gotta get greedy now. Like I gotta find ways to get better now. And while people are still like, oh, I'll wait to do this after lockdown. I was like,
Yeah,
damn, this is the time right now to get better and to just take advantage of like people just chilling, you know?
exactly.
So yeah, and then after that, that's how I got started. But yeah, when you got into the whole drop shipping, and then when was the transition that happened to agency space?
Yeah, so drop shipping basically didn't really do it for a long time. With soccer, I played left wing, and like my coach made me like I had to always run up and down, and like as I was growing up and stuff, like I just got tired of training, honestly. And then I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, because at 15, I'm like, first I need to fix my mindset, and then I'm still working on mindset. If anything, mindset's what's holding me back right now. But I was working on mindset. I'm like, okay, now it's like time to make money. And so my friend hits me up. He's like, yo, there's this way of making money, $0 upfront cost. Just have to start an agency. And I was like 16 at the time, still working at McDonald's. And at McDonald's, when I was like flipping burgers and stuff, I had like AirPods in, like listening to podcasts and stuff. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I just can't wait till I get out of here.
Right.
And so, yeah, January of 2021, so like last January, my friend introduced me to the agency thing. And he gave me like this like huge folder of like, he torrented it. So basically, whoever doesn't know what that is, like he basically got it without paying full price. I don't recommend doing that.
Torrented. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got it.
He gave me that folder, and I watched Dan Henry's course on Facebook ads. And like, dude, he made it so simple. I'm okay, say less. And then my friend, me and him were working together at 16 years old, and I was doing the cold calling. He was doing the meetings. Okay. So we were working with chiropractors. And then from January to March, I was working with him. I probably cold called 1,000 chiropractors with him.
That's insane.
I remember. Yeah.
Like, how long? 1,000 chiropractors. How many? Like, for how long did that take?
Yeah, like I was doing like 50 a day, like cold calls and stuff. Like, yeah, and I remember one of my first ever cold calls. I was like, "Hey, this is Yegor calling from Golden Media Marketing." I even forgot my script. And basically said like, "Can I speak to the owner of the thing of the what is it called? Like of the chiropractor? What's the name of the clinic?" Right? Like, "Could I speak to the owner of the clinic?" They're like, "Yeah, he's speaking." I'm like, "Cool. I was just quickly wondering, like, would you be interested in getting some more leads for your business?" And he's like, "Yeah, how so?" I'm like, "Oh, well, I just saw that you weren't running any Facebook ads." I didn't actually check if he was running Facebook ads. This guy just like shits on me. He's like, "Are you sure, buddy? Like, check it out." And he's like, "Yeah, next time you call, do your homework." Like, and then he swore at me a bit and everything. That was like my fifth cold call ever. And so, yeah, I did like about 1,000 of those, 50 a day. I even remember like in English class, like we were doing English online, and I was just like banging those out. And then one day my friend just calls me. He's like, "Yo, dude, not working with you anymore." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I started to do it on my own. And so before I was just cold calling, but now I'm cold calling, closing the meetings, doing the service.
Okay.
And so I remember in March, or no.
How much were you charging?
So yeah, I'll get into that. So my birthday is July 21st. Okay. And so on my vision board, I wrote, I want to make passively $1,000 a month by the age of 17. Okay. And so I'm cold calling, started in March. And then in April, I signed my first client. Now I signed him on April 21st for a 3-month minimum for $1,000 a month. And April to May, May to June, June to July. So exactly on my birthday, it's $1,000, 3-month contract. And that's what I wrote. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I signed him on. And then I upsold him because he had like chiropractic, and then he had orthotics, like for the feet. Okay. And so I'm like, yeah, 500 extra, and I'll run both the ads, even though they're the same amount of work. Like it's literally 5 minutes of work extra. So anyway, this dude's paying me $1,500 a month. Okay. And took, like, I remember I was so stressed, like running the Facebook ads, like every single day, I'm just like waking up. Oh my God, did I get new leads? Because I gave him a guarantee in the first month, 15 leads. By the end of the 3 months, 100 leads. And if I don't, then I refund all the money. Okay. And I remember I was so stressed out, like 16 years old, literally just running ads, like from an online course that I learned, and then my friends giving me advice. But yeah, so it took like maybe 2 to 3 hours a month just to manage these leads. And I'm getting paid 1,500 at 16. I'm like, I'm living the life. And then I ended up signing on another client, chiropractor, for like 1,250 or 1,250. So getting paid around 3K a month. 16, like with like 2 hours of work. And anyway, so for that first client, ended up getting him, funny enough, on the third month, at the end of it, exactly 100 leads. And in general, I generated him like $80,000 lifetime value of clients. And combined with my service fee and ad spend, he spent like 15K on me, or like 10K, 10 to 15K. So like 7-8x ROAS. Then for the other chiropractor, dude, I was generating him like leads for $5 a lead, like Canadian, $5 Canadian. It's like $3 US.
It's crazy.
But like, thing is, I was only generating him the leads. I wasn't teaching him the sales. So he actually couldn't even close them. And I'm like, oh, that's your fault. But I was still, new to the game. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started into the agency. And with that first client, I actually ended up working with for like 9 months. Until
that's awesome.
Running like the same ads for like 5 months straight, and they're just generating leads. So
because I think, isn't it the way how Facebook ads work is like, once it picks up like the ideal audience and you keep it turned on, it's just gonna scale up really good.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like with local business, like his area, like no one's gonna travel to a chiropractor like 50 miles away from them, right? So it's like his area was like only 200,000 people.
So it got saturated. Like he got technically every single one that.
Exactly. And so by the 4th month, I'm like, okay, I'm just waiting for this guy to tell me like we're done working together. But that ended up going on for 9 months, or no, 6 months. Sorry. Yeah. Cause paid me 9K total. Yeah. 6 months.
Did you do, oh man, imagine if you did, like percentage deals and that.
Yeah, that would have been sick. But like that was like more than enough money for me, honestly, at that age.
That's true. At 16.
Yeah.
At 16. Not a lot of people can do that. And moving forward, what did you do? Like,
so just like, I was so stupid. Now that I think of it, like I probably could be making so much money with this chiropractor agency. But I told myself like, oh, chiropractors are bad, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I want to go to e-commerce agency because that's where all the money is. Because it's like unlimited audience. And my biggest issue with chiropractors is like, I couldn't control if they close the leads, which obviously now I know I can, just training them on sales. But I'm like, oh, with e-commerce, it's so much easier. You get to control the whole process. Little did I know, e-commerce is probably one of the hardest things. Sure, like not only client acquisition, but like service delivery, right? Service delivery is so like tough there. And I got into e-commerce while I was still making like 1,500 a month from the chiropractor agency. Yeah. And so I remember like scraping these emails every single day, like just 30 of them would take like 3 hours every morning. And so I ended up sending like 700 cold emails in total, which is literally nothing. But like, if you divide that by 30 and then understand that that's like 3 hours of work, like I spent like 2 months on that. So sending these cold emails, all of that, I only booked 3 meetings, 2 which didn't show up.
It's difficult to book a meeting with an e-commerce brand, man.
And especially if you're doing only 700 cold emails. Like I know people doing like
thousands
that in a day.
Yeah, 1,000 in a day, bro. They do like, I've been networking with a couple people, and you probably like Iman Godsi like made it so popular on like the whole email cold outreach and stuff like that. And I've been seeing a lot of apps and softwares where they use to automate like sending emails, and then they use like lead finders and stuff like this, right? To like generate thousands of emails, like send out thousands of emails per day.
Yeah.
So it's like it's insanely competitive, and then I don't think it's sustainable if you do it that way. So it's like a red ocean, right? Like it's not.
Yeah. And like you really have to like e-commerce. Like, I mean, I know certain people say like, oh, once you make money, then you're going to learn to love it. But I think like you really have to have a passion for e-commerce,
Right,
especially at the start to find success with it. And like for me, for example, the one meeting that did show up, I ended up signing her on for 2,500 setup fee and then 20% ROAS on the ads we run. So like performance, like taken, I'm still, oh no, I think I was 17 at this. I turned 17 at this time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it was in August.
Are you in Trace community now by this time?
No, still not.
Not yet. Okay.
Yeah. Right now I got Iman Gadzhi's course and I was just like basically scraping as much free information I could from people in that community. Sign him on. And then my media buyer who I got, we were running ads and everything. And then I'm like, yeah, dude, so can you send me over some more case studies for skincare niche so I could do outreach there? He sends me over the same exact one he did for the fashion. I'm like, hey man, you accidentally sent this over. I'm okay, didn't think anything of it. But then whoever knows like Facebook ads, there's that column section. And so I look at it and it says Bax Consulting. And so I go onto Kai Bax's website and the second case study there is the one that my media buyer sent me. Little do I know, this guy completely scammed me. All of his case studies aren't even his. And now that I look back at his creative, he literally got a photo, added in like a white block underneath it and wrote just like in black font, like 30% off, like the ugliest creative on earth. And then not only that, I had a nightmare client. Within 5 days, we spent like 150, made her back 450, 3x ROAS. She's already telling me like, oh, I don't think you guys are fit for the job, et cetera, et cetera. So she was on my ass. Then my media buyer was a scammer. And then he's like, I don't do refunds and all of that. It was just a whole mess.
Great. I mean, I want to go kind of just transition from here because I think a lot of people think that starting a business, it's not as easy as it is, man. Like, and it's nice to hear that, I only put in like 2 hours of work, right? Like you said earlier. And then, but if you would see it in a eagle's eye perspective, man, like the amount of work that you actually have to put in is immense. Like you do the outreach, you don't count the outreach like as work, but that's part of the work. And then you write up your content. So you actually build authority. And then you get on sales calls and then you have to like actually still improve your skills yourself. There's so many factors that goes into it that is kind of disregarded. So like, let's say maybe someone's making like 2,000 per month and then they put in 2 hours of work in like a plain sight of view. Like they might see that as just like, that's easy money, but it's actually not. There's a lot of time that was put into it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing I don't really, I guess it's part of selling the dream and marketing and everything, but it's like, dude, like every single time, like I see one of these interviews, like, oh, beginner to this or beginner to that. I like to, like in my coaching, at the very start, I tell my clients, like an analogy, right? Imagine you have two people, right? One person has a bucket filled to the brim with liquid gold. The other one has it like at the very bottom. And they both go to a welder who like makes rings out of gold and sells it. Right. Who's going to make more money? The guy with the full bucket, right? And think of that the same with business. If you have a guy who has 5 years of experience in marketing, sales, whatever, and they go and build out an offer, which is that weld or that mold, as opposed to a literal complete beginner with no experience at all, that guy's going to make more money right away because his brain is filled with that liquid gold, as opposed to the beginners who literally have nothing and need to make that thing and like make that, like melt the liquid gold.
Exactly.
And there's literally no shortcut to it. Like, and that's what I think a lot of people don't realize.
A lot of people would get into it because, man, a lot of like gurus and like experts in the industry, they portray it as like, oh, you just got to do X, Y, and Z, and then you'll get this.
Yeah, so dumb. It's literally
Yeah.
not true at all.
Yeah, it's interesting how it works, but yeah, man, moving forward, what's your plans right now on your business?
We'll obviously sign more clients, just make it bigger. Like the whole, yeah, I really just want to, like my vision is like just creating this one-stop shop for, coaches, consultants, or service providers where they go in, just like really, because there's one thing to teach the strategies. Like everyone can do that. You can go out there and get the information for strategies online right now. But I think what really helps is actually understanding why certain things work, Alan Sultanich, whatever. I don't know if you know him. Very cool guy. Basically, what he says is like, it's like, we're kind of in a regressive industry, right? What does that mean?
Right.
Basically, if you have a photo of like an image of like, I don't know, you have a photo of these AirPods, right? If you keep photocopying it, it's going to get more blurry and blurry. And that's the same thing as like, if you have a strategy and you just keep doing the same thing because you know it works, but don't understand why, it's going to get blurry and you're going to get diminishing results. So my goal is to really help understand why these strategies work. So when you go out there, you can actually be innovative, because that's what entrepreneurship is. It's not just copying. Like obviously it's not reinventing the wheel, but it's also innovating and being creative.
100%.
And like I've seen so many of these posts on Facebook, like, oh, I was here in 2019, broke, nothing. Now I run a 6-figure coaching business. My tips: meditate and read. Like, shut up. Like, that's the most basic advice on earth, bro.
It's crazy how the industry works. But man, I read this in psychocybernetics. I read this section. It was like, it talks about how like innovatives and breakthroughs doesn't happen within the system. It always happens outside. So when people, like what you're saying, the regression thing, right? You cannot just repeat and rinse and repeat it because it gets blurry. You have to take the principle and then use it and make it your own and mold it in your own way, because there's no right or wrong answer on how to become successful in entrepreneurship. And definitely. You're 18, and then are you still in school?
Yeah, so I'm going to be going to university in September.
So you're going to the university?
Yeah.
Do you want to go, or is it?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be doing like a double degree. So business and computer science. And like doing computer science in the best school in Canada. Obviously like computer science and like technology is really important. And like, I think it's good for me to learn it. And like in the future, I do want to create something where it's like with computer science and technology, AI, as well as the coaching aspect. So yeah, I mean, obviously I don't think anyone likes the whole idea of university. But
especially in our industry, I see a lot of people shitting on universities, but like I'm also on that side where I'm leaning towards that. What's the point of college? But I want to get your insight on that.
On what? Like, what's the point of university?
Yeah.
Here's what I think. I think that if you have a vision for what you want to do, and university is a part of that, then by all means go into it. If you have a vision and you know that university isn't a part of that, then don't do it. For me, the computer science that I'm going to be learning, obviously I can learn on my own. My dad's a software engineer, but I think that learning from there, it will be a part of it. And so for that reason, I'm fine with learning. But if like, you want to do one thing, then you're going, like, if you want to be, I don't know, like a entrepreneur, but then you're going to school for like architecture or like, I don't know, painting, then obviously that doesn't make sense. But yeah, I mean, I still haven't been in university, so I don't know what the experience is like, but
We'll
I mean,
see. I'm gonna ask you again once you're in the
okay.
university.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah. So what's your overarching vision right now? So build a business and then go to university, study computer science.
Yeah.
Then what's next?
Yeah. So like long term, basically what I want to have is this thing called like the Success Incubator. So essentially,
Okay.
as a man, I guess woman, but I think it'll be mainly for men. Because right now I feel like there's a lack of men on their purpose, high value men.
100%.
And so I really want to make a change with that. And so basically what it's going to be is like, you go inside and this is where the technology comes in. There's going to be like this, I don't know how, but there's going to be some sort of like scan or whatever that gets like your biomechanics, I think it's called. Maybe not.
Right.
Basically like your stats, and it's going to like label you like in different aspects, like personal, business, like relationships, etc. It's going to give you a level from level 1 to 100. Determine your attributes like an NBA 2K my player, right?
Okay.
Determine your attributes. And based on that, and then based on where you want to go, it'll allocate coaches for you.
Okay.
And so that way you have the exact direction for you want to go. It's kind of similar to Iman's Gents Croquet Club. However, with his, I think it's more like general, like there's no specific thing.
Right.
And I know that's probably going to be hard, but I basically want it to be like a one-stop shop for becoming a high value individual.
Right.
And that's going to be based on like analyzing who you are and then obviously giving you that help that you need. Because a lot of people know, or maybe they don't even know what they want to do, but they know they want to get better, but it's like they don't have that individual help. And like, dude, like with the coaches I've invested in, with me coaching people, I've realized like how helpful that one-to-one, help is.
No, 100%, man.
Yeah.
I definitely agree on the part. I think that vision is something to look forward to. Man, you're 18 and you have all this mindset. Like, it's not common to have all these things like going in the back of your mind, like 24/7.
Here's the thing. Interesting you bring up mindset. Because honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I think mindset is the biggest thing that's holding me back. Because if you talk to anyone, they know that I'm a huge overthinker. And like for me, the way I think about it is like, I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. And like if it's ethical or whatever. And so like I always have these like self-doubting thoughts, like am I even like, is it even ethical that I'm doing this or that? Right? Like am I too young for it?
I get you. What's your meaning of ethical? Like,
well, for me, it's like, am I doing the right thing? And like, because like if someone pays me a good amount of money, it's like, are they getting their money's worth?
Right.
That's kind of stupid of me to say because my clients are very satisfied with what I do. They say it like I've had clients who invested over like 5K into other programs and then they invest into mine and it's like completely blows their mind. But that's just something I need to work through. But like, Andrew Tate said this one thing where it's like the people who are very successful are either really stupid or really smart. And then the people in the middle are like the ones who like overthink. And so I feel like I'm kind of in the middle. I don't really know. But it's like a lot of,
To be honest, it's learning, bro, you're 18.
That's fair.
You're 18. I'm 20. Like you've monetary wise in business, I would say you're far more ahead than me. But I can see myself on the, like you doing it similar in me. Like I was 18, like what the hell am I doing? Like I was like overthinking and everything too. Right. But the thing is, around our age, I think it's normal. We're still trying to figure it out. And it's really just throwing ideas out there and then see what sticks. Right. And I think it just comes gradually over time. And I think like the path that we chose, it's not supposed to be easy. So you thinking that, oh, I'm overthinking about this. Am I delivering X, Y, and Z to my clients? Are they satisfied? I think it's common to have those experiences and those feelings because like that's how you grow. And I just feel like adversity just makes you a better man. So it's definitely normal. But it's just how you handle it, really. Like,
yeah. And like the biggest thing, like, dude, for me, like staying consistent is fine. Like I maybe missed 1 or 2 days of like outreach, but like the biggest obviously is like how you approach the outreach and stuff. But yeah, I think like, for example, if you go out, or Layla Hermosi talked about this thing, I'm pretty sure, where it's like she put herself into stressful situations on purpose. So once she learns how to handle that, it increases her level of stress, right? Like, for example, for me going to university, if I didn't do this whole business thing, like if I completely quit my business and go into university, I'm so fine. Like I can 100% handle that, right? But like for another person who's like only parties or whatever, and then they go into the university, it's like, how do I time manage all of this? Like for me, I would have that on lock because I've already learned how to do all of that, right?
Consistency, right?
Yeah. And so I think it's good to increase your stress levels because then you have a new baseline and then keep improving.
Exactly. So. And before this podcast, me and Yegor was talking about like how I quit my job. And like, bro, I know, like I noticed every time, like you're right on. Like if you keep increasing and voluntarily putting stress levels in yourself, you'll see tremendous results. And like just kind of share a little bit is like I literally have nothing else to give, like nothing else, bro. Like I went all in and it was like, okay, maybe there are some like 10-20% maybe like tweaks my time management here and there, but that's just like the overthinking perfectionist mind, right? It was like, yeah, just putting yourself in a situation where your stress levels are high and you're constantly thinking, all right, how do I make this work out? How do I make this work out? And it increases. So when you start getting that downhill, or that lows that they say, right? The highs and lows, that lows is faster to get back up on your highs, and like the level, it's more higher. So I definitely get what you're saying on that, man.
But then also one thing that's important is to like reduce importance. Like it's so weird how it works, but like when
how
you
just balance it too, right? Like that's where I'm at.
Yeah, like it's just so weird. Like I wrote down like on my vision board how I want to bench 225. And like I literally didn't even think about that. And like on my birthday, funny enough, I actually hit 225 after 2 months of not benching. I do dumbbell incline, not bench. So like before that, my PR was 185. Then 2 months after doing dumbbell incline, I just repped out that for 5. I'm like, okay, let me try it, right? And so like when I find when you stop putting importance on things, they do, you know.
No, there you go again. Yeah, you made a good point. Like when I started the whole agency thing, I was like, this has to work out. Like my mind was like, I have this mindset where I don't know how to explain it, but it's not the healthy way of like putting out trying to sign a client. Like it's more of the what's that called?
Like you're desperate for that.
Desperate. I was desperate on trying to sign a client. But the thing was, I think the difference from that and the way I approach outreach now and like my prospecting, it's like I, instead of like feeling like it's a responsibility or it's like it's a chore to do, I made it in a position in the way that I changed my self-image pretty much on saying this is fun and this is like I enjoy doing this, and then position in a way that I'm making connections with people here. And then,
exactly.
Yeah, it was different. The energy was different, and then I noticed it.
Yeah, definitely. That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, man. What's your relationship with your family? Because you mentioned earlier.
Oh yeah, no, like they're really, it's really good. at first they were kind of, like, oh, don't do this, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, like, we have to realize is just not even family, just like anyone who you talk to, when you bring up an idea to them, they perceive it through their own experiences and beliefs, right?
Exactly.
It's like, how would I say it? Yeah, it's like, imagine, like, for example, you have perfect vision and I need to wear glasses. Right. And I show you, and I don't have my glasses on, right? It's like, and you put a picture in front of me, I see it differently as opposed to you. And that's the same thing with people.
Right.
And so at first, it's like when you tell them these ideas and all of that, they're like, oh, that doesn't work because they've never done it themselves, right? It's like, if I tell you that, like, I don't know, I made $1 million in a month, you're not going to believe it until you do it yourself. Right. Or until you see it. And like, you could see it, but it's like, still, can I really do it until you do it yourself? It's like, I can. And so I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. And then like, first you're like, oh, no one's going to pay you $1,000 like for this. And it's like, I got it. And like, oh, okay, you changed my mind. It's like, I do this and this and this. And then slowly but surely they understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think the biggest thing with that is like, there's no point in like bickering about it. You just have to do it and then say, here are the results. Exactly. Like, you can't, like, when there's the numbers and results there, you can't, argue about that.
Argue with that. Right. Exactly. So is it, when you were starting, I think it's part of business, right? Like, especially at our age, it's like, we're so, we, the beliefs that we have too. And like of course, our parents plays a big part in it as well. So it's like, some people that are starting, this is what I experienced at the beginning, was like, it feels like I was betrayed. I don't know. That was my feeling. And I was like, oh, I feel this way. And then eventually you grow into that stage of like, oh, they're just coming from a perspective. We want the best for you. Like, they're not trying to make you not be successful. They just see it, and like you said, in their perspective, in their lens, they're doing what's the right and what's the best for you. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And how do you handle that though? Because it's for our age kind of.
I mean, like, literally, first, like, here's the thing, right? It's like, you can't really like argue with it if they're still providing for you. And so like, I just do what, like, I still do whatever they tell me to do, like, I'm still going to uni, all of that. But then I do my thing on the side. Just do that, like, there's no reason why you should have to literally like run away from home or something. Like, I'm sure I don't know, whatever, but like, for me, at least, I didn't have to like be supportive of what I do. Like, as long as I keep doing it, like, I was still getting good grades in school, like 90, 95 average. And so, yeah, obviously it was a bit like kind of like rough and all of that, but that's why, like, me having obviously CP, the community I joined, and like having people who are like understand what you're talking about is very helpful.
100%, man. It's I'm definitely appreciative with it, and then, like, to be honest, it was so worth it. Like, getting into that community.
Yeah, definitely. And just like, even worst case scenario, like, even if this doesn't work out, which I don't think that's going to happen. But even if it doesn't, like, I still learned so much. Like, I could go work as a sales job, marketing job, all of that.
Right.
So yeah, it's never a bad idea.
Backtrack a little bit, sorry, but I kind of, for computer science, you want to do something in technology. What's your plan on that?
What do you mean, like the job that I want to work?
Yeah, just pretty much. What's what are you planning to use that for?
Oh, well, my idea is like, because with e-commerce, what happened is like, I hired people, but I didn't really know if they're good or not because I didn't know how to run the ads myself. Okay. With this, if I learn how to do the computer science myself, then I can hire smart people and know if they know what they're talking about. So that's my idea. Because like, I don't see myself as like typing away at computers every day. but I can see myself as hiring people who are better than me at that and then building it for me.
No, 100%. I think personally, me too. I'm definitely not close-minded about going back to college. Like, if I would go to college, it's a meaning of like, I want to learn something I'm interested at, which is like right now, my interest is philosophy and in general, like on creating like formulas and stuff like this, right? And something to do with technology as well. But right now, I think it's that thing where my mindset is like you can't chase two rabbits all at once. I had Matt Jacob in the podcast, and we talked about it, like on why he dropped out and stuff like that.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. I can't.
Yeah. And there was bickering and stuff like that. We talked to it in the podcast, like, but I think it's all part of the journey. Everybody has different journey, man. Like, there's no right way on how you get where you want to go.
Yeah. So. And also to the school I'm going to for computer science, the like inventor of BlackBerry went to that school. So like,
okay,
like there's some pretty, smart people there as well. So
yeah, no, 100%. I'm not discrediting everything on college. Like people who's listening in this part that listens to this podcast or potentially will listen to my previous episodes, I've always shied on college. But I'm not saying that it's all bad. It's not all black and gray. It's like, if you have to go to college and you're interested in something, go ahead. But if you have, like you said, you have a plan, execute that plan and then reevaluate if you still need college and go ahead.
Like, yeah, I was speaking to like a multimillionaire. She's like 50 years old or whatever. And she was basically telling me this: if you want to become a lawyer, doctor, or anything that genuinely needs a degree to be successful, then go to uni. But if that's not needed, then, so once again, going back to the thing, like if you genuinely need it based on your vision, then it's not a bad thing. But yeah.
Who do you look up to?
So funny you say that, because I was speaking to my mentor the other day, and he was basically saying that you shouldn't look up to people.
Really?
In the sense of you put them on a pedestal and then you create this dissonance saying that they're better than you and all of that.
Okay.
So like Kanye said, I look up to myself.
Okay. Who inspired you?
Yeah. That's a better
inspires
question.
You?
So at the very start, it was just like, obviously Iman Gadzi. Mm-hmm. He was pretty inspirational, as well as like Alex Ramosi.
Right.
Just like, being so young and wise, and like, Alex 30 is pretty young as well, or however old he is.
100%.
And like the value he gives out. Just like, I don't have anyone specific. Mm-hmm. If anything, if anything, I'll say the most inspirational is Kanye. Like when I watched his documentary, that was life-changing. Have you watched it?
I have not. I'm definitely going to check it out.
It's insane. Like his self-belief and his dedication, and like him literally knowing that he's going to be at the top, and then like he's worth $6 billion now, or maybe that's Jay-Z. Like more, he's a billionaire.
Right.
And like just knowing that, it's so inspirational. So yeah, Kanye is just insane.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Kanye is the inspiration, man.
Yeah.
How do you define success? What's your definition of success?
Okay, some pretty loaded questions.
Yeah. I'll make sure that I kind of get more of understanding who you are really and kind of share with them,
Yeah.
Where the value is at.
For me, I think the definition of success is just really like having, me personally, I believe every human on this earth should have an impact on someone else. Like we're on this earth to help each other. And like, if you're not helping, then like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. But the definition of success, I believe, is just when you have a vision and you're just like working towards it, and you know that you're working towards it. Because before, I would say it's when you achieve a certain goal, right? But the issue with that is like, there's never enough, because you can always set new goals.
Exactly.
And so one thing I'm learning is the be, do, have model. So you be something, and because you're that, you do something, and then you have something, rather than the you do something to have something and then to be happy. So it's like you do the outreach to have clients and make money and then be happy. Rather, you be happy, which then from the happiness, you do the outreach and then you have the clients. And yeah, I think success is just being okay with who you are, working on something that you love to do. And even if you don't love it, working towards a goal that you're inspired by.
Right. I think people has a lot of sorry to cut you off, like misconception on like joy, or like, oh, you have to love what you're doing and stuff like that, right? That doesn't mean that every single day you're gonna love it. Like,
yeah.
And then loving meaning is like, even though you don't feel like doing it, is you're gonna do it. Like that's what love is. Like it's not like, oh, I only love it because I'm happy right now, or I feel good right now. The feeling, right? It disappears, right? Like it doesn't matter how you feel. You still like execute on what you have to do because you love doing it. Like I think that's what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not a surface level of I don't feel like
yeah, because our emotions change all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like people say in marriage as well, I've never been married, but like when you're in love or something, it's like it's not a feeling, it's a choice, you know?
Exactly.
So same thing with that. It's like, that's why having a bigger vision is like, why am I even doing this, right? So in the times when you don't love it, you're doing it. So yeah.
What's your plans with relationships right now?
Like in terms of like girls and stuff?
Yeah, girls.
I've been kind of taking business a bit too seriously, I would say. So I'm just like chilling out. Like not too serious or anything. Just like talking, you know. But yeah, like I'm going to go to university soon, so it's like,
well, yeah, that's definitely gonna
plenty of people there. So especially with the school, like I'm doing a double degree, so like the school I'm doing computer science at is like kind of nerdy, but the school I'm living at is like known to be a party school. So
okay,
we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how it goes, because where are you trying to get the your business at, like monetary wise and then just success wise? Where's your vision at right now?
Well, obviously, as much as I can. Like, I always had a goal by 19 years old to be a millionaire. So if I can hit that, that would be sick.
Done deal, man.
And technically, even if I'm 19 and it's July 20th, so the day before my 20th birthday, and I become a millionaire, that's still me 19, right? So
yeah, exactly.
That's just the goal. Yeah, obviously as much as I can with the coaching.
Man, I got a couple more questions. If you were to start over again, like what would you do? What would you have done differently?
Just stick to one thing. So honestly, like since the chiropractor thing was working, like stick with that marketing agency. Not just like hop around all of that. Also, what would I do? I would invest in mentorship or coach as soon as possible. Obviously first, like not right away. First, you want to figure out, do I have what it takes? Okay. Like if for 2 to 3 months, you can consistently do outreach or whatever, even if you don't get results, then you know what you have, what it takes. And then you can invest to get the guidance. Okay. That's how I think it should be. It shouldn't be like right away you invest. Exactly. And invest in like coaching. Don't invest in a course, because it's like the information's out there. You need the help with the implementation, and invest in person one step ahead of you. So don't invest in someone who's like $1 million a month. Invest in someone who's like, if you're at zero, like 10K a month. If you're at 10, 20, 30, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, just stick to one thing. Invest. Focus on the foundation. So just 3 things, or 4, I guess. Mindset. Okay, 5. Mindset, offer, marketing, sales, and then service delivery. But honestly, service delivery, you don't really need that unless you get a client. So just focus on your mindset, on marketing it and sales. Okay. Just practice those as much as you can. And then one thing I would say is like, at least for myself, like no, there's no point in being stressed out. Like 90% of the time when I was stressed about something, it went the way I wanted to go. And so at the end of the day, like I was stressed out in high school that I wouldn't get into.
Wasted energy.
Yeah, exactly. Like in high school, I was stressing out. I wouldn't get into a good school, got into the best school. What was the point of stressing about that? I was stressing that I wouldn't get the guy the leads. 3 months later, I got him the leads, you know? So, and yeah, really understand mindset. Like that's just the biggest thing. Like it's so important.
What do you think? Because we've been kind of talking about mindset, and I kind of just want to touch base too on what do you think was the mindset shift for you that happened? Because, like, again, on our age, like just people I know in person does not have a mindset like that at 14 or just 15, 16. That's like, for me, I thought, I was like, damn, it's no one like this at this age. And then I saw like Iman, and then I saw like Trey. And it's like, okay, never mind. There's some people out there. Yeah. What was the mindset shift that happened to you?
That got me into entrepreneurship, man?
Yeah, exactly. On just pretty much this whole journey of, I want to get into business. I want to help people out.
I don't really know, honestly.
Really? Was it kind of like, it was just like, it came and then...
Yeah, like it just started with like the YouTube channel and stuff. And
yeah, it's interesting, man.
I guess for me, it was kind of like, cause I was alone a lot. Like I just, I don't know, wanted to, in a way, prove myself, like get, say like, oh, I have 1 million subscribers, or I have this, or I have that. So I guess it came from there. But in terms of mindset, like I would say, like that's kind of like my weakest thing that I'm really trying to work on. I honestly think I have all the skills I need. I have the knowledge. I have all of that in order to hit whatever goals I want. Yeah. I just think that it's my mindset that's holding me back. And like, it's so annoying because I know it, but it's like, it's just so hard to get through. So yeah, that's really what I'm focusing on.
Is it hard to get through, or are you just making it hard to get through?
That's also the thing. Dude, I don't even want to get into that.
Yeah, it's... Man, you journal, right? Yeah, it's like, sometimes I write this question. It's like, is this belief your belief, or was it told that this is what you should believe? And yeah, it's like, that's Alex Hormozy question that I got from him was like, what would your successful self do right now? Like, how would he think? What would these thoughts be? What would his like actions?
Yeah, exactly. And funny enough, like when I hit my 8K a week, the reason why is because I completely removed detachment from the business. Because my media buyer, he's like, dude, just sign on to anyone and we'll deliver results. I'm like, boom, out of pure conviction. And like right away, I signed on 3 clients. And so I'm still trying to get back to that state. So yeah.
Good there. Conviction. What's the meaning for you? Like conviction. How do you
conviction is just like this feeling you have of like, I have the best service. I'm the best person for them to talk to. Just having absolutely zero remorse in them, paying you, signing on with you. And like, if they don't sign on with you, it's not like you're confident that that's their loss, and just like having that state is so important. And just like even conviction and like outreach, not even sales. Like if you believe in what you're selling, you're going to do the outreach, because it's like, imagine you have the cure for cancer. You're going to go out and try to tell people about it. Right.
Right.
Because you know that it's going to work and you know you're going to change lives.
No, exactly. No, 100%. I love that answer on that part. Okay, I got like two more questions for you.
That's cool, man.
One thing is, I already asked you that. Like, what? Once you're okay, actually, I'm gonna ask you this first. What's your like in like what would be? Do you have any book recommendations? Like, or do you read books?
Yeah, I read books. Obviously.
Yeah.
So I would say top books I would read is Psycho-Cybernetics, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, whatever his name is. That's mindset. And then after that, Reality Transurfing by Vadim Zeland. That's like the next level for Psycho-Cybernetics.
Okay.
Then, so that's mindset. Offer, I would say $100 million offers.
Mm-hmm.
For marketing, I would say Fanatical Prospecting by Jeff Blount, and then also Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene M. Schwartz. Sales, I would read The Way of the Wolf. That's really Straight Line Persuasion, that book. And I would listen to the podcast by Alex Ramosi, How I Taught 115 Salesmen to Sell. I just like listen to that and repeat. And then, yeah, those are the books I would recommend to read.
How has books impacted you?
They're just like, they're good to have because it's like you could just return to them. And I feel like it's every single, in a different stage of your life, you always pay attention to something else. Because like where attention goes, energy flows. And so at a stage in your life, you can have attention to a certain thing. And so when you're reading the book, that's what you pay attention to. The next stage of your life, you're focusing on something else. Then you read that book again and it's like, oh, I didn't even know this was in here. Because like, there's no way you're reading 200 pages and memorizing every single thing,
Exactly. 100%.
So it's always like a good thing to go back to.
All right, man. Last question is, let's say, how do you want to be remembered off? Like, let's say you're not here no more. How do you want to remember? Let's say if I mentioned the name Yegor, and it's like, what would you think right off the bat? Like,
I would want to, like, my big vision for my whole thing is like, I want to be remembered like the Apple of like self-improvement in a way, Does that make sense? Like, I want to be like, how people remember Apple, there's like that prestigious feeling. That's like how I want my business to look like. So it's like, you go into it, it's like, oh my God, are you in his program? Or like, have you checked out the Success Incubator or something? It's like, oh, you've been a part of the Success Incubator. It's like, that's the whole thing I want to, that's kind of the narrative I want. It's like genuinely change the lives of millions of people. Yeah. By the end of the day, I'll probably be dead. I don't know. No one will, I wouldn't even know that. So I guess that's just, yeah.
So when they mention Yegor, is this the creative Success Incubator? Okay, man. Okay, that's it for today's episode. I just want to kind of leave a remark. Like, Yegor, appreciate you being here. As again, you've inspired me in many ways. Just you being you, like you've done things in your age that not a lot of people could accomplish. Or maybe it's just like that limiting belief of some people, but you've overcame those things. And just your energy that you're putting out, I appreciate you for that. And just always being like, always active and just being yourself, being authentic.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me, man. That was a good talk.
Sir. Yep. But yeah, that's it for today's podcast. Hope you guys find some value in it. Always don't forget to, where could they reach out to you, or like if they want to reach out to you?
So my Instagram is Yegor.Zay. So YGOR.ZAY. My YouTube is Yegor space Zay. And my Instagram or my Facebook is Yegor Zay Tsev. But yeah, just hit me up on Instagram or YouTube.
Yeah, there's going to
Actually,
be, everything is going to be at the caption of this podcast episode. So if you guys want to reach out to Yegor, there you go. But yeah, that's it for today's podcast. Appreciate you guys.